edition of the Contractor's Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Justin Jones and Dave Negri. This program is dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, roof cleaners, and business owners in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over the competition. This program supplies you with information that the competition doesn't even know exists. This session brought to you by ContractorsSecretWeapon.com. And now, here are your hosts, Justin Jones and Dave Negri.
So here we are, our very first podcast. I'm Dave Negri and
Justin Jones.
Justin Jones. We are, I'm a painting contractor, and I think if you go through our bios on the website later on, our whole goal for doing this podcast is to help contractors like ourselves gain an unfair advantage over your competition. There's so much stuff out there that's available that we've used in our businesses for marketing and systems and attraction of customers that a lot of people just don't know about, only because they haven't done the research and the reading that we have. I mean, just how many books have you read?
I go through about 2 books a month, minimum.
I have, myself. I usually have 3 or 4, sometimes 5 going at the same time. And everyone goes, well, why do you do that? And I'm going, or how can you do that? I said, it's my brain that figures everything out. I don't have to understand everything. But it's, if I get one, and I've done it, I've, paid for a book and I've gotten one idea in the first chapter and that's made me thousands of dollars. I'll put the book down because the book's already paid for itself. Now I may come back and revisit it at time. But I know that with most contractors that I run into, and how about you, that they're stymied because they fall into this trap and that they'll get a job and they'll go do the job and then they'll have to go market because they didn't have anything laid out before them. They didn't have a system to have something available all the time. And it's, so therefore, in reality, you're only working half a year.
You got it right. And the marketing aspect of your business, especially for contractors, and it's the same for my generation of contractors as well as the older generation of contractors. We'll go a little bit more into that, but just explaining how you just explained it. They'll go work, they'll do their trade, they do a fabulous job, and then once they're done with that job, they have to go market for another job or go search somewhere or figure something else out. They can't seem to keep the system of the marketing and the fresh leads that are coming in to keep them busy full time. And I think that's what this marketing segment of our podcast is going to cover. And we're going to cover 3 different scenarios of marketing that's out there. And we're calling it the good, the bad, and the boring. And to tell you a little bit more about myself, I'm a Generation Y contractor. So I come from more of a technology background / college / hard knocks sort of deal in my contracting business. And I launched my business 7 years ago. And in the first 2 to 3 years, I hit a good success stride where I had leads that were coming in, qualified leads that were coming in. I could go out there and I could close that business. And then I sat back and I figured out, okay, well, what's working best? What marketing avenue is working best? And I figured out that a lot of different marketing went into all of these leads. It wasn't just one source of marketing that went into it. So then once I built my clientele, like you'd like to say, or my list of customers, now I have to continuously market or continuously stay in front of those customers to retain those customers. And again, we'll go into the lifetime value of a customer. But that's been my background and where I've come over the past 7 years to where I don't advertise anymore. I pretty much just stay in contact with my existing customers, and I'll dabble in a little bit of advertising here and there, but it's going to be very niche advertising, and it's very trackable, so I can see my results on it to see if this is working or if I need to fix it and go a different avenue.
Right. And myself, I'm the older guy. Yeah. I've been a painting contractor for 25 years, so I have been through a lot of hard knocks of learning who to do business with and who not to do business with. And, I'm sure we'll cover that in time too, is how's your business set up? Is it to be set up so that you'll do business with anybody, or are you picking and choosing to do business with? And after 25 years, I am very picky who I do business with, but I still, Justin, I have gotten, over the 25 years, I've gotten rid of a lot of people that I don't want to do business with. I've kept some people that I do want to keep business with, and I continue to grow that business. And I market, but I market specifically to.
We can edit that out, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I turned mine down. I hate that. We'll leave that for the blooper reel.
So I am, do different marketing, and there is, and we're gonna, like we talked about, we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, and the boring today. But there is so much other marketing that's involved in my business to keep things going. Just so that there's a system. I mean, most people have a system for their office. There's a check writing system, but they don't have a system for keeping the business coming in all the time. And, that's probably one of the best systems you want to perfect, because you can hire somebody to pay the bills. But you got to have the money to come in to do that. So, over the past 25 years, there was a certain time that, I had actually stepped back and actually started buying houses during the lucrative buying houses craze. But, I learned a lot about marketing through, direct response marketing through that, because we had to get people to
sell their houses
to us. And so we wrote letters. We did marketing. We did a lot of crazy things that a lot of people don't even think that you should or could do. But we got the phone ringing, and we got the houses bought, and we got them sold. So, today, like we said, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the boring, and we're going to actually take it in reverse and really talk about the boring first, because even though it's not your fault, you're probably doing that now. And it's only because you saw the guy's card next to you and said, that looks good.
That looks cool.
I will do that. Or the flyer. Or even the website. The website it should be a lead producer, but if it's a flyer, which most websites are, then what's going to give someone the incentive to give you a call? And so we're going to talk about the boring today, and go backwards so that you know exactly what you should look forward to and what to expect. And this is one of the interesting things that I found, is that I really enjoy marketing, and I enjoy, writing copy and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people that don't, and they'll hire it out. And that's fine too, But you should know enough of what it should be so that you know exactly what you're getting. Because I found that, and this is kind of funny, but, most people do their marketing or their advertising, and they buy it from the first guy that walks in the door. Oh yeah, you should do this. We're doing this golf club, and you should do that because there are thousands of people, that come through the golf course, and they'll see your ad, and of course they're going to call you because we're going to design your ad for you, and they make it boring.
And you're going to be the only painting contractor.
Absolutely,
you're going to be the only one.
Yep. And because I've done that, I've been there, And the one time that I got an awesome ad and I paid for it all, they never printed the magazines.
Oh, that's awful. I want to get into business cards. We can go back to the golf course and you buy your tee. You can be on the 16th tee, and everybody who goes to the 16th tee, they'll find you and they're going to call you. The last thing I'm thinking about when I'm golfing is calling somebody off of an advertisement on the tee hole that I'm taking off on.
When I do that, it's just a donation.
I want to relax. Yeah. I want to go out there and have a good time with my buddies. But the most simplest form of advertising or marketing that all of us are doing is with your business card. Right. That's the first stop right there. You have to have business cards. Every contractor out there has a business card. How you come up with what you're going to put on the business card, your call to action on the business card, or lack thereof call to action on your business card, down to the paper that it's even printed on. If it's falling apart as you're taking it out of your wallet to hand it to somebody and it's all folded up, that's just poor marketing on your behalf. So let's get into your business card, what your business card shouldn't have on it, and the quality level of the business card.
I think one of the things that you absolutely should not do is get free business cards because some companies offer them for free. My theory and philosophy on business cards, in the simplest form, is that it has two sides. Use them.
You mean as a contractor, I don't want to flip it over to the backside and write my proposal on it and hand it to somebody?
I mean, yeah, if you don't have,
that's
you want
horrible,
to be professional.
Horrible to do, and yet I see it all the time. When I go to people's houses, I'm like, let's take a look at your proposals. Let's go ahead and review them and make sure they're apples to apples. And they pull out this guy's business card and they flip it over, and you can barely even read what it says. And it's on a 3-inch by 2-inch business card, and you just kind of take a deep breath and go, that's my competition, or lack thereof competition. So let's go into it. So you've got all your components on your business card. You got your license number, which is mandatory around here. You got your name, company name, your phone number. You really don't need your address in today's times. Website information and maybe an email address, but what are you really doing for call to action when you hand that business card over to somebody? What's going to make them want to call you out of all the other business cards that they're getting handed? And that's what we're going to get into right here, right now, is having that call to action on there. Are you asking a question on your business card that will keep people's thoughts going? Or that's going to trigger that, oh man, I need to, that's right, I read that somewhere, I need to get a hold of them. Or, what's your thought on that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get, really in-depth into that, into good, because I know that for most people, the business card is handed out the most. I mean, and in reality, that's your branding. Mm-hmm. So if you have a logo, I'm going to tell you that, and I cringe because everyone really gives me that lost deer in the headlights look. If you have a logo, that's great, but make it so that you can almost barely see it, and I'm going to always, when you're doing marketing or you're talking to your customer, it's always try to remember WIFFM, what's in it for me. Not you, but what's in it for the customer. They want to know what's in it for them. They don't care about your logo. They don't really care about that you're a plumber, a painter, a contractor. Actually, what they care about is what can you do for them that no one else can do. So when you're thinking about, actually doing a business card, don't say, I'm the best plumber, I'm the best contractor in the world. How about we solve problems? Think like the customer. Don't think like the guy that's trying to sell it. Think about what does the customer want. And if you can't do that in the very beginning, that's okay. Like my first business cards, I'm a firm believer that sometimes ugly sells or memorable. So when my logo it still is. It's bright yellow and black, and it's neon yellow. Matter of fact, I've thrown business cards back to the printers because they weren't the right shade of yellow. And because I always thought that if they don't remember me, they'll remember the card. You know, and every time people say, "Oh, I remember this card," you know, and I'll go, "See, you don't remember me, but you remember the card." Now, I've had call to actions on every single one of my business cards, and I've always used two sides. But, you know, think about that when you go to design your card. Think about, you know, yes, I am, you know, a good carpenter, and I am good at whatever trade I do, but what problem do you solve?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's what you have to put on there, and thinking from that customer standpoint. If you're in their shoes and somebody hands you a card, what are you looking for on there? Obviously, I like a nice clean card. I like a good card stock in my hand. I don't want something that's just going to fall apart. I'll tell you a quick funny business card story. When I first went into business, I was so proud of myself. I'm thinking, this is great. I go out, I get cards made. I put the company name on there. Really didn't have too much of a logo. And I put CEO or president.
Yeah.
And I'm going out there and I'm handing out these cards, and my customer or my prospect asks, you know, is this the best that you can do on this proposal? And I'm going, yeah, it sounds. He goes, well, you know, you're the president, so there's nobody above you, so you can make the call if this is the best or the worst that you can, you know, do here. And I remember I was backed into a corner on saying, you know what? You know, what do I say now? Yeah. I can't say, well, I've got to go back to the boss and check with the boss to see if we can do it for this. As soon as I left that house, I took all those business cards and tossed them in the garbage. And I forgot where I got them. I think I got them from Vistaprint, where you get like 500 for like $5. So anyway, that gives you a little bit of an example of what not to do on your business card as well. But when we get into those call to actions on there, I know Dave's business card, it's bright yellow, like he said. He has some QR codes on it, and those QR codes can get scanned, and it takes you to parts on your website, or it takes you to other call to actions where you're giving away information. And whenever you can give information away on your business card, people are going to hold on to that card. You see a lot of these realtors and a lot of these property managers, they go through and they'll take their business card and they'll send it out with the calendar for the year, or they'll send it out with some kind of something stuck to it, you know, magnet of some kind. You could stick it to your fridge, but they're holding on to that. Yeah. You know?
And the neat thing about the QR code is that it's relatively new. I mean, I've been using this for 4 years, easy. But for most people, it's relatively new. And it is great because in that little bit of, I've got 3 QR codes on my business card, and that's more information than I could ever put on a business card. Now, the cool thing about the QR code is that if you have a real long
website
email address, you know, you can make them to QR code, and bingo, they can scan it and email you right away. So they don't. You want to take anything that's a hindrance away from your customer to contact you. So the QR code could be your telephone number. Bingo, they scan it and it automatically calls you and they got you. So they don't, I mean, there's just so much that you can do just on a little stinking business card. But you're giving those away more than anything. One marketer, got his business card in the mail, and it actually was the size of a business card, but unfolded to 8 pages. It was like a mini book. But this is what this guy did. He was a marketer. He did marketing. He wrote, you know, all kinds of stuff. So it was just unique. Yeah. That's what it was unique. So how unique can you be on the littlest thing that probably gives you the most exposure, especially if you're out there, if you're networking and stuff like that, you know. So, you know, and mostly everybody is boring. It really is. And even you get to flyers, you know, you make up a flyer. It's the same thing. It's just an enlarged business card.
Here's my services. Yeah. Here's what I do. Call me, but there's no reason to call me. But then also, when you're thinking about putting this information on your business card or on your flyer, do you put on there #1 painter? Do you put on there world's best painting services? you've got one of those sticky situations where that doesn't really mean anything at all to the customer at all.
No. When somebody is looking for your particular service, ultimately they're looking for a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
And how unique can you solve that problem for them so that they won't look for anybody else? I know like one of the things that I do is someone says, well, I want this. And I go, okay. And you're the boss. And they'll go, what? I go, you're the boss. Didn't you ever hear that before? Well, everyone I do business with doesn't treat me like the boss. I said, but you're paying the bill. So how can you, in your marketing, in your little card, make yourself unique so that it all goes back to it's not about you.
Yeah.
Think about the customer. What do they want? How can I, because we have this tendency in all of our marketing that it's my logo. It's my ego. But that's not going to make you any money.
And it can be funny too.
Oh yeah.
I love those business cards. The plumber. We are number 2. We're number 1 in the number 2 business.
Industry. Yeah.
And that sticks in my head.
Yeah.
And that guy's based in Lakeland, or he's probably 40, 50 minutes away from here. But I remember seeing that on one of his business cards, and that stuck with me. If
Absolutely.
You can get something that's attractive and funny all at the same time, you're all more better as well. So again, that gives you a little bit of insight just on business cards to kind of tell you the direction on where we're going on here. And, I want to, I'd love to get into doing the flyers and doing the websites, but I think we're going to end up running out of time on that. We could probably get into that at another time.
Yeah, we could go a little bit into that. Well, basically, like we said, the flyers are basically everyone takes all the stuff that's on their business card and they put it onto a flyer. And they salt and pepper with a few other things. And a lot of times, and we'll get into what not to do in the bad, because right now we're just talking about boring, but boring can also be bad, and we'll hit that more.
Yeah, we can. You want to do flyers? We can get into the flyers.
Yeah, let's talk about the flyers today, and it actually, and while you're thinking about this and we're talking about it, extend it to your website page, because that's all your flyer is an extension most of the time of your website page. And there again, it's not your fault because you don't know any better. But my philosophy is that if I'm going to spend money for marketing, I want to know that I've got a return on it, that I'm just not, giving it to the first guy that comes on the door because he thinks that I should do business with him. Matter of fact, I have my pat answer for anybody that calls about doing marketing now is that I will be more than happy to advertise with them on the condition that we set up a separate telephone number, and I will pay them X amount of dollars for each phone call that comes through. And you'll be surprised on how fast they run away.
They're out of there.
Yeah, they're out of there.
They want your money right away.
They want to give you a pretty boring ad that looks a little bit different, a little bit better than the next guy's, and they're going to tell you that, you need to put it in here at least 4 or 5 months because they need to see you continuously so that they'll familiarize yourself. You don't have enough money to brand yourself. You need something that's going to get a response today. And if you put it out there and you don't get a response today, then chalk that off and do something else. There's one it was kind of funny because in marketing, in the rest of the world it's called failure. In marketing it's called testing. It's testing. So you have to continually test. And the cool thing about marketing is that no one particular thing works all the time. That's why I've got at least 20 or better, things that are ongoing all the time to keep leads. And as we go on, we'll go through that. But let's talk about this crazy flyer, because
your typical flyer, 8.5 by 11, you see them out there, you might be guilty of putting them out there. What your flyer should cover is who you are, what you're about or what you do, and how you can help the customer. That's really going to be about it. You're going to want to put your contact information, testimonial, your branding aspect, whether it be your logo, your mugshot, whatever you want to put up there, and a good phone number to get a hold of you. That's what your flyer should have in it, the key components of it. But we see them all the time where I even get them stuck to my front door with a rubber band, which really, really annoys me because I have to go out there and I've got to rip that rubber band off. And it's a different color flyer, and what it says at the top is tree service or plumbing service. It lists out everything gazillion things that they do. Yeah. And then it has a simple phone number at the bottom of it. Call Vinny. He can help you with your trees. And if you need plumbing services, he can do that too. And it's like, it's not going to work. You're not going to get any calls off of that. There's no call to action. It's more of a nuisance whenever you attach it to my front door than anything else. I'm going to put that into the bads and also into the boring category.
Boring, yeah. Now, I used to do that when I first started painting. When I
you were the one.
I was the one.
Man.
No, but I mean, and everything is mathematical. And, mine wasn't typically boring, but, it was boring because I've been always a little bit creative. But I would take 1,000 flyers and I'd staple them to wood and I'd go throw them out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And out of the 1,000, invariably I'd get 3 people that would call for estimates and I'd get 1 painting job out of it. So was it worth 5 or 6 hours it would take me to do it when I didn't have any money? Absolutely. I mean, would I do it today?
How many years ago was this?
25.
Okay, so that's pre-internet.
That was pre-everything. Yeah, that was pre-internet, pre-everything. Now, I am, and we'll talk about this at a later time too, but internet, I am a fan of the internet, but the internet is just one form of marketing.
Yes.
Everyone treats it as, the form. It's just an additional form. So, but yeah, and when we're talking about your logo and your address, it doesn't go at the top of the page. The thing that goes at the top of the page is what you can do for your customer, because they want to know who you are after you've told them what you can do for them. They don't want to know that John's tree trimming service or Bob the painter can do this stuff for them. They really don't care who you are. They want to know that you can solve their problem first. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload some boring postcards, or not postcards, but business cards, some boring flyers, so that you get an idea of actually what we're talking about. And we'll even put in when we get to the good, then we'll post some of those in as your,
sure,
so that you'll have an idea. And there again, if you have boring stuff, don't beat yourself up, because, why would you beat yourself up if you didn't know any different before? But if you did know different before, then shame on you.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
So that gets into the bads, into the boring aspect of the flyers. And even if you try to pretty your flyer up, if you put a border around it, or you make it a different color flyer, or you want to make it a different size flyer, I don't care how that flyer goes. If you're not covering those key components on the flyer that you need to cover, it's going to end up in the bad and the boring. You're not going to get phone calls off of it. And don't do like Dave did back in the day and go and deliver them at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Now you have the police chasing you before you didn't.
Especially in the deed-restricted neighborhoods. You definitely don't want to put your flyer there, because they'll send it over for processing at the local police station.
Yeah, for sure.
So that gets into the flyers, and again, we're going to upload these bad flyers, bad business cards / postcards. We'll upload this stuff. You can grab it all at contractorssecretweapon.com. Again, that's contractorssecretweapon.com. and we'll put it up there along with the information for this podcast. That way you can rewind this podcast, listen to it anytime. This is touching a little bit on what we're going to cover in these podcasts for contractors. And again, this was just the boring aspect of it. Stay tuned for the bad and then also getting to the good aspect of marketing. We're going to be going into some direct response marketing. And if you don't know what direct response marketing is, stay tuned for that. Yeah. That could be crucial in your business. And a lot of contractors, actually, I'm going to say it, at least 90 to 95% just don't do direct response marketing. And out of those 5 or 10% that might do it,
they're making a killing.
They're either making a killing at it or they're not doing it right as they should. So we're going to cover that aspect as well. So if you do fall into that small category that is doing it, we're going to show you how to do it the right way. And then we're also going to have some examples for you, as well as we'll put up on the website a product for you to download that will kind of take you step by step by step. And all you'll have to do is give us your email address for that. So, Dave, you got anything else you want to cover?
No, it's pretty much it till we get to the bad, and then that'll be fun too. So, until then, we'll catch you guys around the next time.
Sounds good.
Welcome to another edition of the Contractor's Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Justin Jones and Dave Negri. This program is dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, roof cleaners, and business owners in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over the competition. This program supplies you with information that the competition doesn't even know exists. This session brought to you by ContractorsSecretWeapon.com. And now, here are your hosts, Justin Jones and Dave Negri.